Talking about the book Renovating Project-Based Learning, your field guide to real-world projects in the digital age. So first, establishing the conceptual framework of a project. What is important? The idea must be complex and important. Students must understand the concept after studying with you. Projects are designed as complete learning experiences by teachers and should connect directly to their students' interests and experiences. Projects can prepare learners beyond only school. You must imagine how the project will help your students to develop important skills, dispositions, and attitudes. A well-designed project makes students stretch their intellectual muscles in ways that traditional learning will not. Ask students to synthesize and evaluate their typical project instead of just asking them to report on their research. Here are 7 skills students will always need. You may pause and read it if you would like. Keep your students in mind. Connect students to design challenges because it illustrates how students are making the world a better place through computing. The Congressional App Challenge encourages kids to learn how to code. This has an opportunity to be selected for recognition by their representative, have their work put on display in the Capitol building, and win prizes. Second is the Imagine Cup. Students create applications that shape how people live, work, and play. Nash created Rescue, which enables drones to be developed quickly to photograph natural disaster sites. Technovation Challenge is where girls are able to identify a problem in their community and solve it with a technical solution in teams. They build a mobile app and a business plan. Aruzan developed QuamCare, a GPS that gives directions and warns loved ones if the user is in danger. Apps for Good Awards is a teaching and awards programs for ages 10 to 18 to build mobile apps and IoT products. Pocket Money Pig is an app imagined by elementary students to keep track of pocket money and loans for their family. It is important to direct your students to many informal learning opportunities available to them beyond class projects. Replace the term project with passion and think what would spark your students' curiosity and make them feel like what they are learning is important and interesting. What activities and tools will excite them, and how could collaboration make them feel a part of something big? When you enter a student's enthusiasm, it will ensure that they will dive into a deep inquiry and come away with essential understanding. In this book, it says projects with passion help connect with the social and emotional aspects of learning experience on page 87. Here is a chart that explains what you must do, which is create, evaluate, and analyze, apply, understand, and remember. Essential learning functions. Research. Students get a chance to interact with experts, interpret data, examine primary sources. This helps them apply higher-level thinking to pose questions, find, filter, organize, interpret, represent, and analyze new comprehension. Also, make and express ideas. Students are able to grab data from expressing their own observations, polls, or other data sets using Google Forms. Google Forms are accessible to everyone, and it is simple to use under Google Drive. They are able to use digital photos, screenshots, maps, and web pages. They can also create posters with text, videos, photos, sounds, graphics, drawings, etc. Also, collaboration. Skype and Google Hangouts are both collaboration video conferencing services, and they offer file exchange. Groups can post sticky notes in Padlet or back-channel chat. We should use Google Drive and Wiki to also collaborate. It is important to learn together. Project management. Students can store information in the cloud and Google Drive so that they don't lose their work and can easily refer back to it. Students can organize and manage their projects on Trio and Tag, organize, share web sources, and annotate on Diigo. These tools are important since they help bring coherence into the students' projects and support good project management. Reflection and iteration. Set up blocks for your students so that they can get their thinking out and read their other responses from their peers. Examples are EDU blogs and Kid Block. It is important to have reflection of improvement, and iterative work becomes excellent with each revision. Open educational resources. Create and share free learning sources like example, Kuriki or CK12. To help students on their learning path, you must help them tap into shared courses, textbooks, curriculum, and other learning options. This is a chart that shows the percentage of PMOs responsible for each type of training course or program. And here's another chart that shows the expected total number of project manager jobs by 2027. There are potential pitfalls: long activity but short learning outcomes. The project should not be long and busy, and it will fall short if the student can learn as much through reading or a brief lecture. You must think where you and your students can go with this idea. Technology layered over traditional practice. Good projects focus on reaching a significant learning outcome, not being an electronic slideshow on a research topic. Thin thematic units. Some classes can use a unifying theme for the whole year's work. How the themes change or power could repeatedly be addressed over the course with projects. Some work are not collaborative or rigorous. Overly scripted with many steps. Be wary of other prescriptive project plans that have discrete steps. It could be a recipe that leads to limited and predictable results. Not enough focus on formative assessment. When you read a project plan, think about whether it has phrases with work products that you can weigh in on with constructive feedback. Assessment that does not feel authentic. Avoid this pitfall by making sure students will have an authentic project and an authentic audience for their efforts. Here shows a pie chart with most common project management challenge by type. Designing terrific projects. Consider these aspects of critical thinking that can improve quality. Compare and contrast, predict, understand causal relationships, determine how parts relate to the whole, look at change over time, identify patterns and trends, examine perspectives and alternate points of view, make a well-founded judgment or informed decision, extrapolate to create something new. Ideas naturally emerge from the interests of your students. Here shows the 5 steps for critical thinking skills: observation, analysis, inference, communication, and problem solving. The best projects are loosely designed with different learning paths, cause students to construct meaning, are structured for inquiry or center on one driving question, capture students' interest through complex real-life experiences, are realistic, thus cross multiple disciplines, reach beyond school to involve others, tap into data or primary sources. They are also structured to help students learn with and from each other. They call for interactive work with feedback, revision, reflection. They also have students work as experts, might work. And they help with digital age skills, literacies, by including communication, information, and media literacy, technology use, and project management. They include persistence, risk-taking, resilience, self-reflection, confidence, cooperation. They also help students learn by doing. They can connect students with an authentic audience and allow public sharing of what they also know. Project assignments and performance tasks. You should blend new and old. Teach in an untraditional way. An example was having kids create their own comic book and talk through every scene like a director or a producer would. That way they know the story inside and out. Create something new. Ask your students to create something new that asks them to apply what they have learned. It creates an enjoyable experience of working together and share what they learned. Model real-world assessment. It can inspire students when panelists talk about what they do in their careers and give feedback about their portfolios. Enter a contest or submit for publication. These opportunities can be motivating for students who are ready for the challenge of real-world assessment. Writing competitions give students critiques from authors who are knowledgeable about their craft, and also ask students what did they learn. Encourage self-assessment and peer assessment. Ask how other members contributed for collaboration. Here are ways to effectively lead teams through performance management. You can pause whenever to read what it says. Project timeline. Set milestones. Student activity changes from one day to the next, so it is important to have guideposts marking the way. Without milestones, students are lost, uneven, and can miss the deadline. With milestones, there can be rough drafts that are advised on how to improve their peer editing. By the time the students turn in the final draft, the work is higher quality and they actually learn from it. Work backwards. Select a reasonable end date and start filling in. I personally wouldn't grade the milestones note if they were met on time or not, and view their progress. Plan check-ins. Create a system for regular team or individual check-ins. First, focus on the conversation on research methods or how a group is functioning as a team. These times are when you put direct attention on critical aspects of growing as a learner. Project work offers opportunities to collaborate, so discuss features of good collaboration and ask your students to give examples of when the collaborative work went well or broke down. Discuss and examine their experience with them and see what will improve going forward. These check-ins will be useful as you consider how students have grown in their disposition, skill, and knowledge. Look for other progress markers. Be aware that too much assessment of a certain type yields diminishing returns. Page 130. If you ask your students what they learned that day during the exit period, your students will show how tired they are. Think of other ways students can provide the information you need. Have students interview or dictate each other instead of asking them to write a reflection. Ask them to write a confession. Here's an example of project timeline. Assessment options and tools. Brainstorming. Draw out what students know and care about or generate ideas and directions for inquiry. First, have an individual brainstorm privately for your students or in pairs. Then push for more ideas when the session seems played out. The most creative ideas come after more common ideas have been expressed. Third, cluster ideas instead of listing them when recording the ideas. Seeing connections between ideas can generate more ideas and can lead to deepened thinking and new tangents. Checklists can show major milestones and work products against due dates. It can help students stay on track. Group sessions a teacher holds to provide differentiated attention. It guides research and helps students organize their efforts, support independent projects, addresses group dynamics, and other project process. Concept maps shows ideas and relationships between ideas. Use it for brainstorming, explaining, or planning a system. Exit slips. Students can process, report, and reflect on their learning. It can tell teachers how their students are progressing and give the students the opportunity for a last reflection before transitioning to another class or to their home. It should call on synthesis or evaluation and makes the day learning stick to them. Use their comments to plan workshops or mini lessons for the next time you meet. Interest inventory. Students learn best when they care about what they study. So create a survey for students on what they want to study and things that they care about. Give a day for students to think about their interests and later reflect on them during project planning. They will find connections they never thought existed. Portfolio includes plans, outlines, drafts of work, recordings, pictures, journal reflections, and communication with others. Project logs can be recording where students track tasks, due dates, who is responsible for each task, and task status. This can include other elements such as a timeline with project-specific milestones that can be marked up daily. A daily effort diary they use to report on individual and team accomplishments, review protocols, or reflection space. Review protocols are structured examinations of student work and focus attention on essential features of student work in order to draw out critical and useful feedback. Here are 4 characteristics of brainstorming. Focus on quantity, piggybacking, freewheeling, and non-evaluation. Here are all my references. The first one is the book, and the rest are all the pictures that I used on this project. And that is all. Thank you.